Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. This is the Market Update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. This show is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on the alerts bell so you know when we're going live. And if you like the content, all right, this is the weekend. The weekend is almost here. So let's welcome everybody on the stream. We have Crypto Lion from Arkansas, right? Chicago Joe, Soli Soul, Ahmed from London, Jojo Wave is here, right? Pratik, welcome. Jeremy, all right, welcome. Chicago Joe says, feel like this is D-Day. Well put. Well put. Poland is here. Corona, California. Somebody's noticing that there's no red shirt. Yes, we're changing it up today, right? We're changing it up. John's here. Wrong again, right? 6K today. Houston is here. Welcome. All right. Greetings from Jersey, Asia, Pakistan, Kenya, Miami, Netherlands, India up late at night. Wrong again says sheepdog. Who knew I was going to read the prayer of the sheepdog and the market was going to collapse? Wow. Okay, Morrow's here. Fresno, California, Fontana, California, Albuquerque, Australia up late at night, right? California, Brazil, Phoenix. Pat says we're crashing. No, actually, that's coming up. Okay, that is coming up. So what are we going to do today? Well, we are going to get you out of the way, like right now. All right. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at a chart. No, I changed my mind. We're going to look at this. Okay. This is the entire crypto market right now. This is it. That's the market update. We'll see you on Tuesday. No, seriously. This is what's going on out there with people's heads. Okay. So I completely changed it all up, right? I did different stuff on my Twitter. This is what's happening. This is the market update. Now, naturally, we're going to do more than that. Okay. But I could stop it right here. It's like, do you want this to be you? Do you want this to be anybody you know? Or does this remind you of anybody you know? All right, let's do PowerPoint. All right, I got to find the PowerPoint. We'll get to the PowerPoint as you think about whether or not you want to be that dog. I know you don't, right? I want to be the sheepdog and keep you out of trouble. So I call this the end weekend. Okay, we will dive into the charts and find out why. Okay, Bob Marsh says people giving up. Not yet, but that's coming. That's coming. They just can't stop loving it. It's like a 70s disco song. They can't stop loving it. Ethereum futures perpetual funding rate. Green. Since green the entire way down, right? Since this down move started. Green. Like they just cannot stop buying ETH futures. I don't know why. ETH is like the collateral inside all of these crumbling DeFi systems. Like this is just crazy. right? They think ETH is cheap. It looks cheap. The cheap just get cheaper, right? Bitcoin, same thing, right? Everybody over here getting long futures because it went to 28 and it held at 28, just like it held at 6K in 2018, and then boom, right? So it looks horrible, looks like we're crashing, but everyone's still long. So no one's gotten out yet. I saw a tweet from somebody I respect 2 days ago, and they said, you know, my portfolio's not looking so good. And I looked at the tweet and I go, why do you still have a portfolio? Like, what are you doing? Your portfolio of what? Your portfolio is like, I don't know. It's like canned food, cash, right? A bathing suit, go to the pool, sell in May and go away. Last day, last weekend. What portfolio? They're all buying Bitcoin. It's crazy. Okay. Okay. Typo on this chart. Let me fix it. Okay. So this is Bitcoin accumulation trend score from Glassnode. Purple equals people buying. So let's start in the top left. 65K, Michael Saylor buys all the way down. Everything's purple. Then it goes sideways, the indicator, and then, oh no, it goes unpurple. And it went purple over here in December at the bottom, and then it went on purple. And then now we're sitting here buying Bitcoin. I understand Bitcoin is probably better than stable coins. Bitcoin philosophically is better than fiat, the euro, the yen, but people are eventually going to get to the point where it's like, don't sell what you want to, sell what you can. And I think that's going to be Bitcoin now and probably S&P futures on July 4th. So Memorial Day will be the blow up in crypto. July 4th will be the blow up in equities. And it'll just be tons of fun if you're at the pool going, you know, oh, it's lower. Oh, I don't care. That's where I want you to be. Bitcoin 4-hour chart, 28,979 is resistance. That's nice. But the simple fact of the matter is it can't go up. Like they don't want to be short, but there's no buyers if it goes up. So everyone's accumulating. But once they get done buying the dips, there's no one to take it from them. So it's like, oh, yeah, it's down. Everyone's capitulating. No. I mean, it looks like it is if you look at the chart. But if you look at these other metrics, there's no capitulation at all. None. Zero. So you're like, Bill, the market is down this much and no one has capitulated. And people are still long. Yes, that's what I'm telling you. It trades that way because that's why it's down only. Right? It's down only. Everyone's long. People are getting longer. ARK versus ETH and MicroStrategy versus Bitcoin. Some good news here. Like I said, either crypto's got to go down or the stock's got to go up. Okay, well, the good news is ARK actually did go up, right? That's ARK is the altcoins of the stock market. So ARK went from 30-something to 45. And then if ETH, the level of ETH would match where ARK is. So we went back to say July of last year. We said, all right, where were all these things at the lows, right? Well, ARK was way up there at 113 over here. And ETH was at 1706. So ARK is down 60% from where it was last July. So if ETH was down 60% from where it was last July, that puts it at 1,065. And I'm grateful that the rally in ARK has at least created a 4-digit target in ETH. You don't even want to know what happens if ARK turns over and goes negative, say in July. MicroStrategy, the same thing. Last year, July, over here on the left, it's 472. Right now, MicroStrategy is rallied. It's at 224, down 53%. So if Bitcoin is 53% lower than where it was over here in July of last year, that puts Bitcoin at 19,100, which, you know, thank God that's at least in the neighborhood of the targets that are being talked about elsewhere on, you know, BoobTube, right? Oh, it's support is here. Oh, support is there. Support is where they stop selling, to be honest, right? This is like the point that we're getting to, and I'm going to like massively drive that home. Okay, so everybody thinks that because there was 1 weak housing number that the Fed is going to stop hiking rates. Like everything is fine. The dollar's going lower. Stocks are going up forever. Monkeypox is here. Printing press coming up soon. Was anybody at the press conference when Jerome Powell talked about Paul Volcker, the guy that raised rates to 20%? So people think that Jerome Powell is just going to stop tightening because what? I don't know. So there's this like fantasy that the dollar's going lower. And of course, if the dollar did go lower, that would be awesome. So I could stop having to use silly memes and wear flamingo shirts so people don't get too upset, right? But the fact of the matter is that the dollar holds 101.5. I mean, yeah, you could say the dollar's no good, but what about the euro and the yen? I mean, forget about it. Nobody wants to own that. Nobody. So if the dollar starts going back up, if 101 holds in the dollar index, you're looking at 103 and then 106. Because again, there's a huge problem with the yen and the euro. It isn't even worth going into it. What is worth going into is, why does everybody think that ended because of like 1 weak housing number in the United States? Like you had a 10-year parabolic, a 12-year parabolic in stocks and real estate. And the Fed's just, you know, that's going to get unwound in a month. Jerome Powell said he wanted to hurt demand. Well, how do you hurt demand? Well, higher rates, higher dollar, right? Everybody flooding out of these other currencies and into the dollar. Now, if the dollar goes lower, okay, that's good. But there's no reason to expect that, especially if you consider what's going on over in Europe, right? Like, what's the price of gas in Europe? What's the price of gas in London? Somebody's telling me it's like $8 US. Okay, Bitcoin weekly versus 2014. So if this is right, this fractal, the last time Bitcoin was down a bunch of weeks in a row was 2014. So if this fractal repeats itself, so the blue is 2014, the regular bar chart is now, you probably got a 3-week puke or a 4-week puke down to like 14K, right? Just boom. And I wouldn't be shocked if they did it all in one day or 1 week. I mean, why not just get it done? Especially if people are like long derivatives. I mean, I don't even know where the bid is starting next week. I have no idea where the bid comes from in this market with everybody dip buying. So, you know, you got to think to yourself, okay, do I want to watch something terrible happen to my portfolio, or do I want to like go to the beach? If this is wrong, you got plenty of time to get back in. Now, all right, people got altcoins. They got big layer ones, right? I mean, these things were at 150 and 200. Now they're at 25. And it's understandable that people will go, these things can't go any lower. I mean, I refuse to sell Avalanche at 24. I'm like, okay, I understand that, but how wrecked could people get? So what I did was, because these things went so parabolic, right? They started at like $1 and they went to 150. So I just used the log scale, right? I just adjusted the price action for the fact that the thing goes up, you know, on an exponential parabolic way. So I'm like, all right, this is the log chart of Avalanche. It's a 2-week chart. Every bar is 2 weeks. So I drew some fib circles, and you look at this, you go, you know, Avalanche really isn't down that much if you look at it this way. Then you ask yourself, where's support? Oh, well, probably where it started from back in DeFi summer in 2020. In other words, you could say, oh, Avalanche could go down a lot, or you could say, oh, blah, 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 blah coin is going to zero. And of course, no one will listen to you. I'm not saying it's going to go to zero, but what I am saying is $24 for Avalanche may not be cheap, right? In other words, if something's at $24, it can go to 24 cents just based on this chart and common sense, right? Like if there's a problem with ETH, if no one wants ETH, who wants ETH killers, right? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like if ETH is the collateral inside the DeFi system and there's an ETH liquidation event, unless Vitalik has the merge done on Monday, what happens to this? Just look at the picture. How much room does this have to go down? Like Solana is similar, right? Like your Solana, like, oh my God, this is at 220. There's no way I can get bearish at 40. And there was a lot of accumulation at this level in Solana. So it's not like there's no support in Solana, but it is breaking down out of these fib circle formations. And if you assume this market is going to like transform to something where, you know, like regular support and resistance doesn't work, only the unseen. So it's the Fibonacci, the Gann, the Elliott wave, right? The unseen things. And I actually got something from Token Metrics, which you're not going to want to miss, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff going on in stable coins, which again, you're not going to want to miss. So, I mean, if there's a problem in DeFi and NFTs are next, right? Well, I haven't even gotten that far yet. I can't even process what's happening. Like, where can this go? Like, if the venture capitalists go, you know what? We bought this at 40 cents and $40 looks pretty good to us. It's better than zero. So again, just I drew the picture and I'm like, oh my God, right? So people need to start to get their head wrapped around visual prices being cheap versus, you know, what can actually happen if you look at a log scale. Now, back to normal charting, you know, 1848 is a level in ETH, and it broke that point, and we had some gymnastics there yesterday, and ETH just can't do anything. ETH is the collateral behind everything in DeFi, and nobody knows what happens if ETH vaporizes, right? Because ETH does that, right? ETH can just, you know, it'll sit and it'll go way up in bull markets, and then it'll sit and then just disappear. And then you got to start, like, you know, somebody made fun of me once on Twitter. You know, the market moves and I drew this fib resistance structure, and he's like, oh, here come the line drawers, right? And that may be what everyone looks at on Monday. Everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, where's support? Where's the line? Where, dude? This is like a guesstimate as to where it stops on the downside. For example, 24 might be support in Bitcoin. Okay. So it hits 24, and how long is it going to bounce off 24? How much time do you have? Do you have a day? Do you have a week? Do you have an hour? Do you have 30 seconds? I don't know. Point is, if ETH is not above 1848, you do have to worry about 1519. Now, if you look at ETH on a weekly basis, there is at least some good news. So 1863 is support. That looks like it's going to get broken. 1706 is another important level. Okay, that's back from July of last year. So that level matters. But how does it matter? Why does it matter? Well, who's going to want to sell ETH at 1706? Nobody. Nobody. But who's going to get forced to sell ETH at 1706? In other words, if somebody or some protocol or whatever goes, oh man, this we're going to have to liquidate everybody. And then their chart guy goes, hey, did you know ETH was on support? And they're like, really? ETH is on support? They're like, yes, it's on support. Does that mean there are bids there? And the guy goes, yeah, probably. If somebody out there is blowing up, support means sell. Support means liquidity. Support means bids. Now, not today. It's Friday, May 27th. Okay. But Monday night, right? Everyone's at the beach. Everybody maybe remembers what Memorial Day is all about. Everybody's like, got their flamingo shirt on. And then they pick up their phone and go, oh no. Somebody overseas that doesn't know about the weekend is not waiting for the Tuesday open of equities. They're just like, you know what? We're done now. So if 1706 doesn't hold, the only thing I can draw with this Jamark chart is 1150 and 484. Now, I know that's ridiculous, right? It was ridiculous to talk about ETH at 1700 back in December when it was at like 3500. Right? And again, remember, people are still long. So support, maybe support. It also may mean liquidity. All right, total value locked in DeFi. I actually tried to do the log scale on this, but I couldn't quite find the button. But I mean, does that look like something you should get long? I mean, what have we been saying all year about crypto? Like on the way up, you're paid to buy the little dip. So like up, little dip, right? But then when it starts to be like down, no rally, this looks like Luna. The DeFi system on charts is like, you know, on Token Metrics, we had this. Like once it was done, it was done. That's it. So, I mean, why is the DeFi system? I mean, my understanding from our analysts yesterday is that you can get a better yield buying like the 5-year note or the 10-year note you get on stable coins. Like the DeFi system is offering to lend money to people at very low rates. No one wants the money. No one wants it. Like, oh, okay, I have a stable coin. What am I going to do with it? Deposit it somewhere that's going to blow up? No. Buy a cryptocurrency? No. Buy an NFT? Okay, maybe if I'm an art critic or I'm an art fan, maybe. But, you know, roaches go in and they don't come out. Because if you buy something denominated in ETH, it could be the greatest NFT ever. What about the currency risk? So again, why was there any reason to borrow inside the crypto system? There is none. So the returns normalize, and they're actually, you know, like you can do better in the bond market in legacy. I mean, I can't even like get my head wrapped around that. So total crypto market cap, 2-week chart. Each bar is 2 weeks on the log scale. The circles are Fibonacci circles. Drawing them is a highly subjective process. So I drew some Fibonacci circles, and I noticed that when it broke out down here on the bottom on March of 2017, you know, Bitcoin went parabolic. Okay, now this, you know, and it broke out here in 2021 and went parabolic. So what happens at the outside of the circle where, you know, it kind of keeps breaking below it? Like what happens to total crypto market cap? Well, I don't know. How about the opposite of what happened in 2017? You know, it exploded and now it can just depressing. Yes. Okay. Look at the Williams oscillator. You're like, oh my God, the market's oversold. No, it's not. Not according to this oscillator. This oscillator is like, hey, this is just starting. This is getting started. This is total crypto market cap. People are like, oh, my portfolio. Oh, I'm holding on. Should I move to cash now? I don't know, man. Should you? I just don't want to see people get wrecked. I just don't want that to happen. Right? I'm kind of like, you know, the people who follow my Twitter are like, hey, you know, I'm out of this. Thank you for helping me. You know, it's like, okay, now how do we do that to like 1.5 million followers that I don't have yet? Okay. It's like, get people out of the way. If this market turns around, man, we could turn on Token Metrics and get long like tomorrow if it turns around. But this is like AVE versus Bitcoin. Okay. 5 of 5. What does that mean? Well, that means if AVE starts going down, it's going to keep going down. That's period. Like, you're like, wow, Bill, this is a really complicated chart. And I was like, all 5 waves are emotional. I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me simplify this. If AVE starts going down versus Bitcoin, it's going to keep going down, right? And where's the bottom? Because that's the big question, right? Where's the bottom? I don't know. 40% lower than where it is now. This guy going back to the ETH charts. Like, where's the bottom? I don't know. Let's draw some lines. The bottom is where people stop selling. Now, that might be on support, but it might not be, because every time it gets to support, right, it's now going out into the world. I'm not the only people who can draw these things. People are like, oh, is that a support point? Normally, you want to buy support, except if you have forced liquidation. Now, maybe there is no forced liquidation. But then I ask you this. Why does this market trade like this? Why is it down only? Why is the only rally the thing can do is go down and then come back to unchanged? That's because somebody's just... You have forced liquidation. STEPN. Very admirable project. Work out to earn, right? You got to buy an NFT and then go walk around. And like all these things, if you got in early, you dropped 20, got ripped, got a girlfriend, 10 or 100 extra money, and then you kept your sneakers, unloaded your tokens, and now everyone's trying to buy the dip. I don't know. First it was like, oh, let's buy the dip at 90 cents. Then it goes up. Let's buy the dip at 90 cents again. And, we wish workout to earn well, but people are still trying to buy the dip. Now, these guys are trying to fix their tokenomics. I get it. What happens when people buy the dip and it doesn't work? Meanwhile, the levered long people, or just the people who are still holding portfolios, go, gee, I guess this market's got a problem. So dip buyers have to sell. People with portfolios have to sell. People inside DeFi protocols or hedge funds blowing up or whatever. A system-wide margin call occurs. They have to sell. Who is the buyer? Who's the buyer? It's like, here's the Zen Bowl. It's like, we're going to fit the entire market in here. Oh, yeah, guys. AVE, hedge funds. Yeah, just put it all in. It'll all fit in the bowl, really. Not going to happen. It's just not. And that is part 1 of the market update. All right. So somebody's just joining in. All right. We will go through Ethereum. So if you missed the Ethereum update, this is the Ethereum update in short. Okay. Now, Token Metrics, the new markets page. Let me tell you something, people. Token Metrics identified, the AI identified a stable coin denominated in Swiss francs. Why is that important? Well, because Switzerland has gold vaults, meaning Switzerland is considered, Swiss franc was the original fiat safe haven. It picked up a Singapore dollar based stablecoin. Also a safe haven where they can hold gold, etc. Just as a safe place to be. Now, the market movers tab, where it'll show you what is moving on volume. So trading volume deviation. Okay. Okay. So what's been moving a lot over here? What's going on over here? Euro Tether, trading 2 times the volume. Pax Dollar, 2x the volume. CUSDT, 2.75 times the volume. Let's see what else we got. Okay. Celsius Network on high volume. Lido DAO, high volume. Coin, Stepin, Sandbox, down on volume. Right? And then just like Solana, Aave, Osmosis, DeFi Chain, Near, Thorchain, right? In other words, now when it's starting to go down, volume is coming into the market, right? Volume's coming into the market. Lido staked Solana. ApeCoin, right? One standard deviation away from its volume. What is this telling you? Well, it's telling you that people are doing GTFO in anything that's like, you know, a stable coin, DeFi, anything that they can get trapped in, they are just selling. In other words, the question isn't where is support? That's what people who are long are asking. The big players are like, where's the bid? Show me a bid. Show me somebody sitting there with their little bowl going, oh, wow, this is so cheap. That's just this is how forced liquidation works. So everyone's like, you know, we're going back in April. Everyone's like, oh, it's a bear market. It's crypto winter. No, dude, it's an upside down volcano. It's a crash. It's like 1929. Everybody gets liquidated. Who's everybody? Well, how about the system? The people, the protocols, the hedge funds, everybody. Everybody gets liquidated. So everyone's like, oh, there's something wrong with crypto. No, there isn't. There's nothing wrong with crypto, right? Everybody's getting liquidated. That's it. It's like a human experience. But, you know, people don't want to hear it. I understand that they don't want to hear it, which is why you have sheepdogs. Wednesday, we did the prayer of the sheepdog. It's kind of an outside the box thing to do. So sheepdogs historically are obviously protectors of sheep from wolves. Okay. And the sheepdog is something that's been adopted by the military in something called the prayer of the sheepdog, where, you know, the sheepdog, you know, invokes the heavens to give it strength, right, to fulfill its duty to protect its flock. Protect the flock. What is the job of the YouTube influencer? I don't know what anybody else would say, but I know they would think my answer is corny. But Monday, it ain't going to be corny. I can tell you that right now. So, you know what I'm saying? Be a good sheep, right? Don't be a sheep. Stay away from the wolf. Stay away from the wolf. Get behind your sheepdog. When the sheepdog goes all clear, okay, fine, you can have fun. But this is not good, right? Okay, so let's check the chat. Pat says portfolio already blown up. Okay, as one of our quant guys can say, if your portfolio is down 90%, it can go down another 90%. I'm just saying, like if it's literally at zero, okay, I understand. I get it. But if it's not, how bad are you going to feel if it really does totally vaporize? Because if you had $500, or let's say you had $600 left in a crypto portfolio, and you're like, oh, well, gee, I guess I'm blown up. You know, that $600 might get you a new set of tires on your car. Look at your portfolio and say, okay, what are all the things I could buy with whatever's left in this account? Could you buy a dinner for two? Could you buy a week's worth of groceries? Could you go on a vacation? There's like an opportunity cost, not to mention your sanity. Like, okay, I lost money. I have something in common with every trader in history, like going back to the guys that invented candlesticks in the Japanese rice market in 1776. Okay. Juliet says not selling anything now. Okay. Emmanuel says crypto seems scammy. Spin says no on a week's groceries. Okay. How do you feel about real estate crypto? I think when you have a shock, when the shock is over, like, maybe there'll be a huge break, a huge relief rally in July, maybe, right? So maybe stocks will turn over, stocks will go down and crypto will go up in July. That's when you start looking at all the stuff in crypto that you like. And if it's real estate, then look at that, right? Everybody's like, oh, DeFi's dead. No, DeFi's not dead. It's just everybody's getting liquidated. Nothing is dead. Nothing is dead. Everyone's just getting liquidated. That's all. Sucks, but that's what's happening. Okay. Somebody lost a lot of money in Luna, and we are sorry about that, right? We are sorry. There's people who really got hurt on that, and, we did sell in May and go away for a while. So if you were listening to the wrong people, or you weren't listening to anybody, or you got caught, okay, welcome to the sanity zone. This is the sanity zone where you can either listen to what I'm saying, follow what's going on, or get any information that you need from me. And again, don't forget tokenmetrics.com, because this was on Luna, and this is all over this DeFi system cracking. Like, just cracking. See USDT 2.75 times the normal volume. Can Solana bounce to 50s this weekend? Okay, so let's look at Solana. So, Solana can bounce. The market can bounce. Okay? It can bounce. The problem with the market is, like Solana, it can bounce, but it bounces to like what used to be support at like 43 and just fails. So this idea that I want the market to go up so I can sell doesn't work, right? I mean, yes, you do want to sell on green. The market goes down and comes all the way back up. That's an opportunity. But if you're like, oh, I need a rally so I can get out, you never get the rally. You don't get the rally until everyone's out, most likely, including you. Now, I know that sounds horrible, but, the price you get out at is not always the best price. Like, we were talking about Solana a long time ago. I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't look so good. Some guy got out at 89 and was upset. It went to 120. And the guy was like, he was like out of his mind. He's like, I can't believe I missed it. I think Solana on a 4-hour chart, right, with a 9 bottom can maybe get to 48. So if you had this like amazing move up, that's what you would get. What you're probably going to have is a 9 bottom, and it's either going to grind, right? So you might get to 48, or it's the 9 bottom, right? It's the setup 1 through 9. The contrarian, the counter trend move, which is this candle right here. And then on Monday, I think in terms of, you want to look at the market now in terms of time, right? Not price. I mean, price helps, but that's going to end, right? You want to start thinking about time. Okay. So Rune, all right. I don't know. This thing was at 12. I loved it. I thought this was like the future of DeFi. Now DeFi is just going away. It's getting liquidated. So there's a 9 bottom and no bounce, right? There's every reason to think that this should stop, and it's not. They're like, Bill, I thought this was a technical analysis show. I'm like, yeah, it is a technical analysis show, right? And when technical analysis indicators don't work, and when our AI is picking up stable coins, 13 bottom, no bounce. Every rally sold. Now people are just like exit, probably headed for 152 next week. Okay. CME gap on ETH. I haven't even looked at this. Let me look at this. Okay, Ethereum futures at the CME. Okay, so the gap that I'm showing was at 2,100. Maybe it's on weekly chart. Yeah, I mean, there was a gap on the weekly chart, and then they broke it and they returned to it. Like I said, this is ETH futures weekly. What's up from Tennessee? Lawn Shark is here. Okay. Avalanche. So we were talking about Avalanche earlier. I mean, there's two ways to look at Avalanche, right? You look at Avalanche and you go, well, I can't sell. I'm just going to wait for the next cycle. Yeah, there's no way I cannot sell this here. Yes, this is what the regular price chart looks like, right? So the regular price chart is like, oh my God, this is where Avalanche started from in July of last year. And it's like, that's $8. So I guess if it goes to 21 to 8, it doesn't matter because it can't go any lower, right? Then you start to look at the log chart, right? Like the 2-week chart that I had earlier. Like, where's the support, dude? Where is the support? Like, where would this stop if it snapped? I mean, I can give you a support level. I could draw one, but it's like I looked at this and I'm like, oh, people are selling it at 22. Here's a better question. Why is everyone selling it at 22? Well, because the venture capitalists are afraid it's going to go to 20 cents. Now, why would they think that? Why would anybody even say that? Well, because that's probably where they bought it. Right? In other words, that's why volume is starting to come into the market. Right? Because venture capitalists are like, if we're holding a coin that went from 20 cents to 200 and we didn't sell, and then the coin goes to zero, what's going to happen to us? Our investors are going to be like, what? You guys didn't do anything about this? Like, seriously, I mean, people are asking, the venture capital angle has not even been discussed. Last year's all this outrage, like, oh, venture capitalists bought such and such coin at 30 cents, 6x below the market. So, this is Sandbox, and there's nothing to even draw on the daily. Okay, if you draw like the log chart, Sandbox, has a lot of room to go down. Now, if you go over here and you check Sand, right? The question in technical analysis that everybody should be asking themselves is, what happens if it snaps Monday? Like, Sandbox doesn't want to get above this like deeply oversold band, right? So like, here's the band it's supposed to be in. And Sandbox has done this before, right? This was the band it was supposed to stay in and exploded. So markets love symmetry, right? The metaverse is the future, but is the metaverse token the future? So, like, just ask yourself, who has got the biggest position in this token? And what happens if they go, okay, we're done. Wow, that's it. Like, you may think your portfolio can go to zero. You may be okay with that. But whoever's holding this may not say that. They may be like, oh, Jesus, just get us out. Because they're going to have to report to investors at the end of June who are going to look at them and go, so you just sat and let my money go to zero? Like, crypto has like real investors, like huge VCs, hedge funds, people who do both. Their investors are the stewards of other people's money are just going to sit there while it goes to zero? No, they're not. So yeah, if Sandbox is above $1.41, cancel red alert. Otherwise, you just got to start drawing things that don't make any sense. X DeFi. Okay, so support at just above 17 cents, right? Just above 17 cents. And if that doesn't hold, then, you know, I'm not, no judgment. If it holds, great. If it doesn't hold, you know, you got kind of a problem. Okay, perp. I saw perp flash by. In case you're wondering where I get this whole, like, your altcoin can't go to zero. Like, we really thought that this token was going to do well. And it did. It did. And then everybody just completely quit on it. You know, I think when this launched on Binance, it hit a high of 16. There's resistance at $1.15, and everyone knows it. And because that was a prior low, and they just keep selling. Is this BitBoy? I'm new. Brian, welcome. This is not BitBoy. He's got 1.5 million followers, so we're a little less than that, but we're going to get there. So no, this is not BitBoy. We mix in some TA and some news, and today we started with some memes because we got to put a little fun in this. The days of the red shirt and the red hat got some people out, but now I have a feeling that it's going to start getting a little bit too depressing, right? $52 in comp, sorry. Let's look at the weekly on this. This is the original DeFi coin. So here's the 13 bottom, and they just keep selling it, right? This attempts to come back to its 2020 low, right? It never even got back to its 2020 low. You know, I know that this is not what altcoin players want to hear, but I actually was listening to this podcast from a bunch of Bitcoin maximalists, and their comment was, I don't know why anybody talks about DeFi. DeFi doesn't exist because it hasn't been built on Bitcoin yet. Like the crypto yield curve, DeFi, interest rates, lending. They're like, yeah, you know, I hope you guys are having fun with this, because if it's not built on Bitcoin, then it's not real DeFi. And I was like, oh my God, these maximalists are unbelievable. Well, who's laughing now, right? This was the original DeFi coin. I mean, Jesus, look, I mean, this is like straight down. This is down only since August of last year. And how stupid can this get? I can't even tell you, right? I just can't even tell you. What do you think are going to survive this crash? Okay, that's a good question. So let me give you an answer. The thing that survives this crash is either a micro cap or it hasn't been invented yet. And where are you going to find those things? How are you going to find them? Like, how do you do your homework when the market's blown up? Well, this is the ratings page on tokenmetrics.com. And we watch this AI grade to see which grades, like, they jump. The AI will go, oh, this was a 40. Now it's a 60, right? So like Olympus, the grade went up 40%. Who knows why anybody would buy Olympus, right? You know, Gods Unchained, the grade jumped 19%. So what's next is here. It's either on this page or When there are relief rallies, which we're not there yet, okay, they'll show up in these indices, which is RAI picking from that list that you just saw. So everyone's like, oh, well, I'll get Token Metrics when the market goes up. No, get it now when the market's going down, right? In other words, whatever you have, like BitBoy's already said this. He's already said, he's done the whole world a favor. Whatever was popular last cycle will not work for the next one. It's not. Like from the last cycle, you had Cardano, Synthetics, Chainlink, you know, all went to zero and then came back. That's 3 coins out of how many? So whatever was working last time may not work next time. How do you find out what works next time? Well, you got to have filter through data. And how do you do that? Well, you do it with Token Metrics. This thing was built in the bear market of 2019 to find what's next. BitBoy became an affiliate, used this site to do research, started doing videos. The market went parabolic, and the guy's famous. Now, he did other research, obviously, but he used this. He used it. Okay, JCH said ADA is still in the top 10 cryptos. Ooh. I saw somebody yesterday on Twitter. They said something kind of mean about Cardano. One of the influencers was like, yo, man, you better rethink that view. Even if it is your view, you better rethink it. So, look, Cardano is a classic case, right? Huge fan base, 13 bottom, that should be the end, right? Okay. And just restart the trend. Right? It can't get above a simple moving average and supports at 25 cents. Well, let me just say this. There's a DeMark line at 25 cents. Okay. XRP weekly. Right? People don't understand, right, at 41 cents that XRP could probably settle the lawsuit and be okay. But what would that mean for the rest of crypto, right? In other words, if XRP got something that said they were okay, but then the settlement meant the whole rest of the market's not okay, I don't know, right? So I don't know what's going to happen with this. Again, I've always said this was a legal regulatory thing, but this does look like you can have one more down week where you wake up, you come in Monday, and everyone's panicking. Should they be panicking in XRP? I don't know. But I mean, if you got long at $1 and it trades at $0.25, whatever sensible argument there is, I'm not saying nobody cares. I'm just saying you're at the mercy of the price action, of forced liquidation. So on a weekly chart of Cardano, there was good support at 50 cents, and there's no interest in holding it there. None. So the market update within the market update. So ETH is down 3%, right? And, you know, other protocols, Solana, Avalanche, you know, nothing is holding. Of course, let's have a laugh. You know, Amazon is popping off the canvas, right? Because we love stocks because everything's fine. You know, S&P futures have gotten to the 38% retracement of its recent down move. So that either means we're at resistance and Monday it kind of gets hammered, or it's the monkeypox trade. Fed can't tighten, and the equity market's imagination is phantasmagoric, so it goes up to 4,300. And it is ironic that for crypto to save itself, it would have to follow equities. Okay. Simulation blocks is Bitcoin at 20K is easy peasy. My guess is if Bitcoin gets to 20K, they may run stops below that. In other words, they may try to create a liquidation event to get sale. That may not work first time down, but they are definitely going to try, right? Macro hedge funds, like once this gets thin, especially if they're short from up top, oh my God. So if everybody's trying to sell and then some big speculator comes in and goes, oh, I'm going to break this thing with the CME futures contract. Oh my God. Please. Okay. Emmanuel says, I'm long a lot. S. Khan says, can we look at ApeCoin? Okay. So if you look at an 8-hour chart of ApeCoin, you might say to yourself, 570 is support. It went down there twice. So let me not hate on this. It would be sort of funny if this was one of the things that actually survived. Okay. But like you said, there's a lot of people who FOMO'd into this early, right? And they're going to be under pressure if it starts to go lower, right? Like here was the FOMO endpoint at like 7. It's probably the first place you were able to buy it, and it's below that, right? So it's not the quality of anything. It's the psychology of the people who own it. And people are asking themselves, like, seriously, if your whole portfolio is down, but one thing was at break even, what would you do? What would an institution do? They're like, oh, do we have profits in this? Oh my God, please sell. Take the profit. Is this a scratch? Oh my God, you mean we actually have something in crypto that's a scratch? See it. Right? This isn't about crypto. It's about human nature. Okay, universal intelligence says Cardano has no institutional investing in it. Okay, that could be good for Cardano. But again, Cardano has lots of people who are long it. And what happens if people panic? Right? Like financial panics don't just happen. They happen because people panic. Now, if you're like a Cardano maximalist and you think Cardano at 50 cents, 40 cents, 30 cents, 20 cents, 1 cent, whatever, you're buying Cardano, then you're not going to panic because you're a maximalist or you believe in it. But there are people who've been watching YouTube last year, right? When it was going up to $3, they bought the dip and now it's at 50 cents and they don't know what to do. And I don't blame them. Like when you get in a situation where you just have like a catastrophic loss, you get messed up. You get messed up and you don't want to hear any more bearish shit. You don't. I understand that. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to be like, all right, let's see if we can get through, right? El Chimi says Cardano is here to stay. Let's hope so. Let's hope, there's a winner amongst the layer ones. Let's hope somebody makes it, right? Because, if DeFi has to reconstruct itself and who the hell knows what's going to happen with NFTs, right? Every layer one's not going to make it. That's for sure. I mean, last year, nobody thought there was any layer one except ETH. And then all these layer ones popped up and moved. Now everything is a layer one. And everybody thinks their layer one's going to go up. Okay. Well, there's Cardano, there's ETH. No one's talking about Polkadot, even though I'm sure that's not immune to all this. But I mean, again, where is your head? Forget about the charts. Where is your head? Right. So somebody's saying, Jan is saying, don't forget, there are millions of people out there who are still 30 to 40x up on their initial investments in VC firms, who have got Solana or Avalanche. Alan says AVAX sub 5. Okay. Jan says the right time to buy Solana was $1 or lower near protocol, which I think based on what our fundamental guys are saying clearly has a future. The question is like, when are the venture capitalists done panicking? Like, some of these coins, you can actually buy them below where the hedge funds bought them. Okay. So trying to find something in near. This is going to be like the new TA, right? So someone will ask, here's Polkadot, which oddly is trying to hold in there with a 13 bottom. I'm telling you, man, I'm going to a Web3 conference, consensus, Web3 everywhere. I promise you, no one will talk about Polkadot. I think that's like the sleeper. Should probably be looking at Kusama too, just to see what's going on. You know, all that stuff. I'm not in any way hinting that something's going to be immune to this, but so this is near on a 4-hour chart, right? So 1 through 9 setup, right? Either a bottom or a top, except if you get a counter trend rally. So down, 9 bottom up, failed rally, right? This could be 13 more 4-hour bars. So you could have you could sit here for a while, it could just bleed out, and then Monday, everybody just, because you know what? There won't be any liquidity on Monday, right? The US is off, right? It's a spiritual holiday to remember people who served our country, but it's also an epic fun weekend. I mean, people are paying $6 gas out here to get to their Memorial Day parties. They're doing it. So this, if you don't think there's any liquidity now, wait until Monday night when everybody's all sunburned and, you know, had one too many beers. There's going to be no bid if it's needed. There's going to be no bid Monday night. And they do this all the time. They do this all the time. Pulse chain. Okay, nobody home here. Let's try pulse chain over here. Okay, we may have to get back to you on that one. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, don't have it here. We'll have to look it up somewhere else. Okay, what do we got here? Wait. Okay, Sora. Okay, so obvious epic give up trade here. Okay, so with this, you got to be really careful if it fails at 26. So you got the nice rally, right? And the temptation is when you get nice rallies. Now, I don't, the fundamentals of this coin are in the hands of the fundamental analysts, right? But all I'm saying is when you draw these kind of structures and this Williams oscillator gets back to even, right? I mean, this is the log scale. So it's really hard to even draw where the final support would be if it broke 26. I'm sorry, if it resisted 26. So I know you're like, okay, Bill, move on. But listen, if you get rallies and it looks amazing, some big scary person is standing there waiting to unload on it. Why do you never talk about shorts? Do you hate shorts? We can make money every day with shorts. Yes. Yeah, dude, I talk about, dude, I give you support and resistance levels. Most US viewers cannot get short. So I don't talk about that, but, you know, maybe I could adjust it, right? Beware of the failed rallies, right? When you got the failed rallies, those were the shorting opportunities. But if you guys want a section where like, hey, where do we get short, right? That's why if you go back to the PowerPoint, I'm trying to give you support and resistance levels, right? Now, technically, I don't say get short at these levels, okay, because that's investment advice, right? And I can't do that. So what I do is I say I talk in like, I don't know, it's not code, but I'll be like, so for example, in Bitcoin, I'll say resistance is at 28,979. So if it's headed up there on a rally, you know, if you were a short seller, what would you do? Well, hopefully you would avoid this where they ran the stops and got the shorts twice, right? Shorting in bear markets is way, way, way harder than you think. Okay, here it is in ETH, right? So 1848 was resistance.
Bill, you're not sharing the screen.
I'm not sharing the screen. Okay. 1848 is resistance, right? So that's a good place for shorts to get active. But what happens yesterday? It goes down, it breaks the point, and then it rockets through 1848, stopping out the shorts. Then it collapses, right? Then it tries to go back to 1848. So the shorts are like, okay, I get it. I'm going to get short there. And what does it do? It pulls up and turns around and goes down, right? So, you know, a short selling game is something that you have to like literally like you have to watch almost every tick. You're watching like a 90-minute chart or a 45-minute chart. Giving you resistance levels that short sellers can work off is probably more productive for me, right, than sitting here saying, okay, get short at this level. Because in bear markets, basically stopping out shorts is a game for professionals, right? They ram it up, right? They run, they know where everyone's stops is. They know where the stops are, and they run them. Especially the even numbers, retail gets stopped out and they drop it. Especially if people get greedy and they're trying to get levered. Now it's already down 6%, so it's like, okay, how do you get short now? How would you get short? Well, honestly, that's going to be an hour-to-hour, minute-to-minute basis. People are going to be watching this video tomorrow, and I'm saying, yeah, get short at 1848. Whereas I can say there's no support until 1519. And then, you know, basically I'm saying the big scary men or the big scary people in bear markets, every time they see green, they sell. That's how you get these failed rallies. They just sell until it breaks. So everyone's all now like, oh, how do I get short? And then Monday, this will be at 1500. And the people who didn't want to sell at 3000 will be looking to get short at 1500, which may still be a good trade, right? But I don't. Short selling requires like precision. So if I was a guy like CNBC where I was on the air all day, like somebody would read the news and then 30 minutes later they'd come back to me, I could give you the surgical short selling levels, right? Most people in crypto, I think, are kind of like long only investors like mutual funds. But feel free to use the resistance levels I give you to try to short, okay? Does USA have wash rule for crypto yet? I don't know. That would be tax advice. Okay. Somebody says shorting is so easy off 200-day moving average rallies. Okay. Bob Marsh says scary place to get short. Okay. Someone's asking about Bitcoin Cash. No, I got smoked on this idea. If you ask me if I would rather have a fork of Bitcoin that moves faster or a stable coin that could disappear, I don't know, man. At least this stuff's backed by proof of work. But nobody cares because if Bitcoin's going to disappear, so's this. I don't even know how to do this. It's like weekly. I don't know how to draw Bitcoin Cash when it's like at support at like 171. Like they're, it's support if someone buys it. If no one buys it, like if I go back over here and type in Bitcoin Cash, now I'm just doing this as an example. It's like people like the first thing I'm going to ask Monday night or Tuesday morning is where's support? I'd be happy to tell you where I think support is, but where is it actually? Well, in Bitcoin Cash, there was a 13 bottom and support was at 233. So that's where support was. And just, like when you draw this, there's just nothing there. There's nothing there, right? It stops when the last person has sold, which could be 2 weeks away. Like there's this week and then there's 2 more weeks. That'll give you a 13 bottom and a 9 bottom. And stuff like this, you're just at the mercy of mass liquidation. You should make not financial advice embroidered golf hats. Yes, I should, because it keeps us out of trouble with regulators. Ran into a guy once at a conference who knew other YouTubers who said, who told me that YouTubers do get in trouble for, saying things that get people to buy things that don't work out. I'm not doing that. We've seen what regulators can do 20 years at Wall Street. You don't want to meet them. All these like stablecoin monkeys who are going to like meet the Fed. And then there's going to be all these NFT lawsuits claiming fraud. I mean, NFTs are not securities, but that doesn't mean you can commit fraud, and the Justice Department or an attorney general in a nation or a U.S. state will not be interested. That says nothing about civil litigation. Like, people don't get this. Okay. $1.09 in GLMR, right? That's a 4-hour chart. Notice how they've tried to take it down here multiple times, but they're pulling up short. That's never a good thing, right? So this thing, there's a case for this thing to probably go below $1.09. Okay, somebody said denial comments. Okay, someone's asking about Solana, CTXC. Up 20% today. Okay, so something's up 20%. That's got to feel amazing if you own it. And what should you do in a market like this when you feel amazing? Well, you should GTFO and go to the beach. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you feel great, that's good. You feel great. But if this goes the wrong way on you, and you had the only coin for a day that was up in a bear market or a crash, and you didn't take the money. In other words, remember what I was saying about the hedge funds where they're like, or whoever is going to say, oh, okay. Wow, you mean I got profit this day? If something went up 20%, oh my God, thank God so. Right? On the DeMarc D wave, it's A, B, C. Right? This whole like upward sloping sideways range could be a bear flag, right? Flags fly at half mast. So, here is the mast, there is the flag, and then it could go down as much as it could go down that much. Could we get a double dip recession? Yeah, I mean, everybody's talking about recession. Like I said, there's one bad housing number, and now we're having a recession. People are paying $6 for gas. They're paying $15 for steak. I mean, if people are still doing this, I mean, let's do it this way. Pro passes at Consensus is sold out. They were like $1,500. Sold out in Austin, Texas. Up to $600 for a hotel room if you're paying it last minute. Does that sound like a recession to you? Seriously. I mean, a recession is high unemployment, everything's on sale. Nobody wants to shop. Everyone's afraid they're going to lose their job. Now, that may be starting to creep in, but I mean, revulsion and recession are when no one wants to go to the conference. No one wants to go. No one can afford to go. I remember the bear market in 2018 when the Consensus entity, right, venture capital, coding, whatever, had to actually start laying people off, right? So that's what that market looked like. Now compare that to the massive FOMO to get into a crypto convention in Austin in the middle of a crash, which nobody thinks is a crash except the, I don't know how many thousand people who watch this show, right? Bear markets are depressing. They're awful. This is not a bear market. This is a crash, which means it has a very distinct beginning and a very distinct end. When does it end? Well, when everybody has lost all hope and everyone's liquidated. And then it can go up. When does that happen? I don't know. Maybe there's a bounce in July, and then maybe there's an epic bottom in October. Maybe. Or maybe they just crypto, that's the equities formula, and crypto does it all on Monday. I don't know. This is in the hands of the monsters right now. Bill, could you talk about Celo stablecoins on another live stream with Mehdi and the other analysts? Well, I will leave that to those analysts. That is what they know. I have never talked about stablecoins, and I will tell you why. Who is in charge of the integrity of the dollar? Not the SEC. The Fed is. And so is the Treasury. They've got enforcement arms and regulatory arms. You don't want to meet them. That's why I don't talk about stablecoins. Okay. Somebody says the bottom comes on the brink of war. Someone says you can't eat BTC. A lot of interesting comments today. Okay, somebody says everyone is going to keep buying and selling the next day until boom, guess what? BlackRock and Fidelity bought all of the weak hands during the process. It's complete feudalism. Yes, right? Nobody remembers this. I don't even know if I can pull it up. I do remember Fidelity offering its 401k customers Bitcoin. And everyone's like, oh my God, Bitcoin's going to the moon, and it didn't budge. Probably because Fidelity, who has been mining Bitcoin since 2016, was looking to offload their Bitcoin on retail investors. Just simply, they had it, they had enough of it, and they could give all the investors a piece. Now, of course, they just wanted people to be invested in Bitcoin. No investment firm wants to wreck their own customers. But there is going to be a massive capitulation here on this crash. And somebody, when everyone is just completely done with crypto, when everyone's like DeFi is dead, the New York Times has headlines, people are walking out of firms, with boxes like Lehman. Everyone's like, crypto's ruined the world. That's when these guys come in and start hoovering up everybody's capitulation. Because they'll be looking at Token Metrics and they already know what they want to buy. A16Z set up a $4.5 billion fund to buy $4.5 billion worth of stuff at a penny because they know what's next. Or they're going to buy token releases that no one's going to be interested in during this crash period. So here's Ethereum on a 4-hour chart. Again, up, relief rally fails. The failed rally, dude. Someone was talking to me about short selling. It's like, dude, all you have to do is wait for something like this with the wick and it goes green and it just goes, you pick a level and you short it, it just goes straight down, right? The gratification is like wait for the green and then wait for the failure and then boom. So let's see what's going on in the market. We'll wrap this up. So Ethereum is still above 1,700. We had 1,706 as an important point. Okay. Now, jokes aside, okay, I do want to bring something up here. Okay, we should make a mention of some levels for the weekend. So this is something I put on my Twitter. It's GAN-based. Okay, so if ETH hits 1670, that's a problem. So let's talk about this. If Bitcoin is below 29,200, that could push ETH to the next trigger point at 1670. If ETH hits 1670, that could send Bitcoin to its next GAN point at 22. I suspect these levels will work pretty good. GAN usually does work pretty good in a down market. So let's review what we've learned. There's heavy volume in stable coins via tokenmetrics.com. Total value locked is falling out of bed. It smells like a crypto run on the banks. What's a run on the banks? Well, in 1929, banks got caught speculating in stocks because it was up only. Not only up only, but up only forever. Right. And then everybody got liquidated and then the banks failed. So what's old is new again, right? I've been reading the book about the 29 crash. So if you have mass liquidation of collateral in the DeFi space, especially since the collateral people think is good may not be, or that collateral may just drop in price because everyone's selling it, right? Now, when does this happen? Today? Probably not. People are tired. They're over it. I get it. But as people sit and think about this, or actually they don't think about it, they're like, okay, I'm just going to ignore this. I'm already down. Who cares? Meanwhile, big players have canceled, like whoever is in charge or whoever looks at liquidity for everything from big DeFi protocols to, hedge funds, whether it's done on an automated basis or it's done by humans, people are going to look at the market and they are going to say this: where can I get liquidity? Not where is support, where can I get liquidity? Right? And then after they get done saying that, there is no liquidity at some point. Like they're like, oh, liquidity, boom, liquidity, boom, liquidity, boom. And then there is no liquidity. So don't get wrecked. And if your portfolio is wrecked, don't wreck your mind. Don't wreck your mind, right? What does the sheepdog do, right? It protects the flock from what? From financial loss. How about from despair, right? If you protected yourself and you pocketed enough money for dinner for two, and your accountant's like, wow, good job, you took the tax loss, not tax advice, but at least you got the dinner for two, right? Preserve your sanity, your capital, your sanity, all right? So that's the market update. This is Bill Noble. I will see you on Tuesday.